Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection. Whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection. Whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. Break it down with the proper perspective.
What's going on? How y'all doing? Good morning, everybody. What's going on? How you doing? This is Shabazz with the proper perspective. Now, y'all know I got to do my mic check. Clear my throat. Make sure everything is popping off appropriately. So, what we going to talk about today? I'm up here this morning early. I'm kind of upset. I'm kind of disturbed. We got another black sellout politician that we're going to be talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as I get my bearings and I make sure that you can hear me, I know I'm up here early, so I'm not necessarily expecting anybody to join me. And something ain't working right, but hey, we'll figure it out later. I will figure it out later. How y'all doing this morning? Let me get the shareable link. Let me see if this is working. And let me make sure you can figure it out later. How y'all? Okay, you can hear me. That part is working appropriately. I'm going to assume that you can hear the intro. So I'm going to give it a minute or two just to see if anybody joins the online component. And if that's the case, you know, let me see let me make sure I pull. I'm going to assume I will definitely pull my chat box up so I can see it just in case anybody does happen to join me today. But what we're talking about is reparations this morning. Now, I'm going to tell you, I woke up this morning with a sore throat. Well, I mean, I went to sleep with a sore throat. But I took a couple of herbal concoctions, and I thought maybe that would work. And now you can see me sipping on another herbal concoction. Hoping it's going to knock this thing out. But, you know, sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. So I wake up this morning and I'm like, okay, I have decisions to make. I can try to run up to DC for the reparations rally. That's a bit troublesome. I can hover around Richmond, Virginia, because there's a Haitian Flag Day celebration. Or I could just chill out. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do. But since reparations is the topic, I've started scrolling through the news feeds. And apparently, the nation's only black governor, Wes Moore, out of Maryland, I can't say Baltimore, governor is the state, not the city, has issued 23 vetoes against reparations or something of that matter. If I'm reading it wrong, if I'm stating it wrong, I do apologize. But let me show you on the screen what I'm reading. So Wes Moore, the nation's lone black governor, vetoes bill to study reparations. Moore issued 23 vetoes total and argued he was already enacting policies and a culture of repair to remedy the harms of slavery. Now, some of Maryland's black leaders just weren't persuaded, and in their minds, they were saying, what in the world? Now, I might say WTF, but what in the world will suffice in public because nobody wants to hear the F word. That's not appropriate. But let me think for a minute now. Okay, I'm going to go off a little bit. I got some choice opinions about this, but I don't want to rake the brother over the coals entirely. I'm not saying that he is a terribly bad person. I'm not saying he ain't doing anything for black people. On the contrary, you look some stuff up and you can find plenty of things that he has been doing for the state. I'm definitely against his this new position of his about reparations, but I'm not saying he hasn't done anything. He backed the move or the campaign for student loan debt relief in 2023. So, big ups. He backed debt forgiveness for parolees in 2024. So big ups. He also championed pardoning marijuana convictions. So I'm not saying that he is an absolute sellout. I'm not saying that. He has taken steps to address certain systemic inequalities, the debt relief, the criminal justice reform, and educational policies. But these are things that are safe. These are the safe political issues. You can be in favor of these, still call yourself a progressive, not get any opposition, or at least not get them so riled up that they're gonna go that extremely hard against you. You will still keep the bulk of your Democratic base. So again, I'm not faulting the guy for being interested in his own political party. But even though I didn't want to say anything, even though I don't want to go hard, and in truth, I try to pace myself, and I really strive not to come for black faces, especially in high places, most of the times. I don't stay silent all the time, though. But this thing, Wes Moore, the vetoes, anti-reparations, I mean, the only black governor in the entire 50 states of this disunited country. Really? The only person that has the power to control a state. We can't count on him. Now again, I'm not even in favor of the study. What he vetoed was the study. In my mind, I'm like, well, who put up for the study? Why didn't they put up for the actual reparations? But okay, I know that I'm in small company there. So the people who said we want a commission, they're not immediately directly right now asking for the paycheck. They want the commission. He can't even get behind the commission. I'm like, I want the reparations check. I want what Martin Luther King said, cut the check. I want a return of the land. I want the actual wealth that was stolen. I want our people housed. I want debt cancellation. I don't want just a study. But that's me. There are factions within the reparations movement. But let me run this down now. He didn't say, nah, that ain't the right way. He didn't say, I'm going to veto reparations. He said, I'm going to veto talking about reparations, especially in the public. I don't want this to be part of the public political discourse. This man vetoed a study, but he's supposed to be the Democrat? Like, I am not in favor of the Republicans, whether the MAGA faction or the conservatives or any other Republican. But if we can't rely on the Democrats to stand with us, Because I furtively, if you're familiar with my channel at all, you already know, or if you like what I'm talking about and you don't mind hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel, you will see I don't believe in studies anymore. Primarily because all the studies have been done. We've had studies at the United Nations. We've had studies in California. We've had studies at various academic institutions. The data has already been assessed. It's already been accumulated. The books have already been written. We had John Conyers talking about it since 1980. Ta-Nehisi Coates laid it out in 2014. Duke, Harvard, Georgetown, these are the lily white institutions. They got black scholars who've been making bulletproof cases for reparations for decades. So the time for studying is really over. But okay, if I'm going to get behind the study, how is it that we can have a black political figure in power? See, it's different if you're not in power and you're running on the campaign. But then once you get there, you turn your back. Face full of melanin, standing on the shoulders of ancestors who bled so he could have the governor's mansion. And he says, no, I don't think we need to talk about that right now. Excuse me, bro. This don't sit well at all. Well, so now let me say this. I can't say this. I can't stress this too much. We really don't need more studies, but I'm trying to ride with the folk that's down for the study. Because I know why. I think I know why they're down for the study, because in their mind, first you have the study, then you cut the check. And I'm okay with that. If when you present the study, if you say, okay, we need 1 month to study it, and then we need to begin executing, I'm with that. So let me say this slowly for Wes Moore and the entire Democratic Party, the Congressional Black Caucus. We're not asking you to go sit in a room and contemplate black pain. No. We are demanding a direct line from enslavement to compensation. We are demanding a direct line from enslavement to compensation, from redlining to restitution, from stolen labor to paid debts. We're not asking you to make us whole in a book club. Yes, we are asking for money. There is a certain amount of money that should be cut to all black Americans. And just for the FBA crowd, I do literally mean those of us who are here because we descend from the enslavement of African people. So yes, we're asking for money. Martin Luther King said he wants the money. But we are also asking for land, power, and resources. We are also asking for a legal infrastructure that restores what this country has stolen. In essence, in effect, we are asking for the exact same package that this country was so willing to give those Eastern Europeans that stole land from the Palestinians. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm just not going to say their name. Trying to stay off the YouTube hot list. But Wes Moore just vetoed even the remote possibility of exploring this process. Now you might want to say, well, you don't live in Maryland, what you care? If we can't get it in a state ran by a black person, how are we going to get it in a state ran by a white person? That's why I care. This is the face of betrayal. Wes Moore, he ain't an outsider. He's the progressive. Now, yeah, he's a military vet. Shout out to all the military vets. My father, may the ancestors welcome him. Whether may the ancestors dance with him. My father was a military vet. But as a military vet, you of all people, as my father did, you understand what systemic racism has done to our people. My father told me all the time, one place he don't want me to go is to the military. I ain't mad at anybody that choose that route if that's what you need to do to keep your head above water. America is a drowning nation. I'm just saying. If you as a politician, if you as a black politician, if you're going to run on and you're going to stand on the identity as a progressive, a military vet, as a black man who understands what systemic racism does, you don't then turn around once you get into that seat of power and use your identity as a shield to protect yourself from accountability. No, we didn't send you there. If it means you only get one term, then look, bro, that's all you get is one term. You got to push the envelope. But this is what they do. They use black faces to make anti-black decisions so that the optics don't sting as hard. This is just like them putting up Michael Langley to try to take out Ibrahim Traore. Using a black face to make an anti-black decision, to make an anti-black case against a pro-black man, against a pro-black position. Now, this don't mean that I'm so focused on the color of the messenger, because I'm not. I mean, when it comes to reparations, I don't care what color the messenger is, as long as the messenger is voting for reparations. If you block reparations, you're no better than the white conservatives who never believe we deserved a damn thing. Wes Moore just became another politician who speaks our language during campaign season and then turns around and speaks Wall Street the moment they sit down. Now, we are already living in a time where the Democrats could not bring in the numbers. They couldn't win the elections. And you would think that they would have learned their lesson since the last debacle. But no, they still playing in our faces. They still, say, we care about the black community. I can't tell. Black voters saved Biden in 2020. He turned around and said, I ain't for reparations. Black voters showed up in Georgia. Black voters showed up in Wisconsin. Black voters showed up in Michigan. And what do we get? No reparations. We don't get checks. We don't even get a study. We don't get serious police reform. And the little bit that they do give us, they allow it to be taken away. There's no protection for black businesses when black women get together and form a coalition to help support black businesses. They put together a coalition to sue them, saying it's against the law to do it. There's been no economic restoration from 400 years of being the economic backbone of this country. And you got the nerve to tell us every 4 years that the other guy is worse. Well, no shit, Sherlock. We know the other guy is worse. But that don't mean you get to sit on your... Let me not curse. Because your quiet betrayal speaks volumes. Now, what is it? The African proverb, the child that does not feel the love or feel the warmth of the village will burn it down to feel the warmth. If we can't get what we deserve, if we can't get our just desserts from the Republicans, and we can't get what we deserve, and we can't get our just desserts from the Democrats, why do we care if this whole place burns down or not? The warmth of the fire, ladies and gentlemen. The fire next time. James Baldwin. Because all you really doing is using smooth language. You're using the buzzwords of inclusion, and you still deliver the same rejection. So yes, it matters. I don't want anybody to smack me in the face. But I don't want you to shake my hand like we equals and then you still stab me in the back. Like I said, I swear I usually try to stay away from this, but let me be crystal clear. Don't call yourself a progressive if you're not willing to cut the check. That goes for anybody. This is inspired by the black man in Maryland, but this is for all Democrats from top to bottom. So for all my people that think Bernie is the next savior, is he for reparations? For all my people that think AOC stands with us, is she for reparations? Don't call yourself a progressive. And don't call yourself a Democrat wanting my vote if you're not willing to stand for cutting the check. So let me be crystal clear. The time for study commissions, the time for exploratory panels, the time for equity language is over. And Lord knows with orangutan in office, it's dead anyhow. So you either going to summon us to the battlefield with an actual tangible deliverable, or the whole thing can burn down. You're either actually pushing for active cutting of the checkness, or you are not an ally. We don't need no more Benedict Arnolds. We don't need no more Judases. We don't need no more Thomas, whatever that sellout's name is, Clarence Thomases. Because if that's the case, you're not a progressive. You're not pro-black. You're not helping us. You're in the damn way. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what ethnicity you are. You either for us or you against us. So my final word, and to Wes Moore, or because of Wes Moore, I should say, my final word to all of the politicians. Well, I hope your donors are happy. I hope all the black donors that gave you money are happy. Because the people sure as hell aren't. You just told black Marylanders in particular, but you just told black Americans, and you just told black ancestors that our suffering is still up for ignoring. You didn't even say it's up for discussion. The commission says that our suffering is up for discussion. You said, no, it ain't. You're in effect turning your back. You're not even saying, it's not even an option for you. As if our repair can wait, as if we can afford to continue putting this off. You know, you keep kicking the can down the road. Eventually the road ends. But you, Brother Wes Moore, you made it clear that your loyalty is to the institutions, not the community. But hopefully, like, I see you now. Hopefully more black people see you now. Hopefully more black Marylanders see you now. And we, like an elephant, should never forget betrayal. Now, I can't vote in Maryland. But if that man was to ever step on the national stage, you think I'm going to vote for him? And yeah, I know what everybody going to say to me. I know what everybody going to say about me. You sound like you didn't vote for Kamala Harris. I mean, as a matter of fact, I did, but that's not the point. I do believe this last election, that was my last time holding out or jumping for the carrot on a stick. So don't show up at the next election cycle smiling and talking about our community, our legacy. Because you just vetoed the legacy. You voted against the legacy. You voted against the community with a single pen stroke. You could have voted for it, and if the good white folks of Maryland were so taken aback from it, they could have stood together in the state house and voted against it. You didn't even make them stand. You didn't even call them to the carpet and stand their ground. You took one for the team, all right. The wrong team, though. You took one for their team. So let me just say this. Anybody listening, if you are tired of black politicians betraying black voters, betraying the black community, while the system keeps getting richer, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, because we don't do the tap dancing over here. We keep it 100. And that's my proper perspective.
Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective.